If only this one was called Spider-Man Brand New Iron Suit, because they've really downgraded his suit quite a bit. Don't worry, just joking, just joking. Spider-Man Brand New Day is the fourth Spider-Man movie starring Tom Holland and picks up essentially where Spider-Man No Way Home left off. Peter Parker's existence has been wiped from everyone's memories, and given this clean slate, he elected to not try to explain what happened to Ned and MJ, but instead let them go, and hopefully in doing so kept them safer. Spider-Man seems to become the friendly neighborhood superhero we all know and love, but inside he's not feeling himself both emotionally and physically. At the same time, a new sinister threat rears its ugly head, requiring Peter's full attention. But is he in the right place to effectively deal with the potential danger before it's too late? Hey everyone, I'm the guy with no name. Thanks for stopping by the channel. If you're new here, I love to talk about movies, TV shows, and occasionally video games. I'm still a fairly new channel, on my way currently to 500 subscribers, and yeah, I mean, if you could give any support my way, whether that's liking, commenting, subscribing, even just watching, no big deal, but anything you can give would be much appreciated. So Spider-Man Brand New Day was the first MCU Spider-Man film not directed by John Watts, but instead was directed by Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings director Destin Daniel Cretton. It stars Tom Holland as Peter Parker, aka Spider-Man, Sadie Sink as a mysterious character. If you haven't had it spoiled, I envy you. Zendaya as Michelle MJ Jones Watson, Peter's former girlfriend. John Bernthal as Frank Castle, aka the Punisher, a vigilante whose morals, shall we say, clash with those of Spider-Man, and Jacob Batalon as Ned Leeds, Peter's former best friend. You know, in a lot of ways, with this being the fourth Spider-Man movie with the same actor playing Spider-Man, it feels like we're in uncharted territory. You know, we only got 2 movies with Andrew Garfield and 3 from Tobey Maguire, and then yes, spoiler alert for No Way Home. If you don't know this, I have no idea how, but they did come back, obviously, for that one. There's 3 Spider-Mans in it, but still, to get 4 movies from Tom Holland as Spider-Man is a pretty big deal. At the same time, however, it feels like it's almost the first real Spider-Man movie with Tom Holland being the focus, because I know I think if you can boil down like the complaints that everyone has about the first 3 Spider-Man movies, it's that Spider-Man isn't really the focus. He gets overshadowed a lot by other things, by the MCU. He starts off with a bunch of Tony Stark tech, which, you know, he's leveled up way more than he actually should be at that point in his superhero career. But yeah, I mean, I do like those movies, but it feels like in many ways, this is the first movie that's actually Tom Holland's movie. It's actually Spider-Man's movie. I really do think, though, that regardless of how you feel after seeing this movie, I feel like most people are going to at least be able to agree with, yes, it was great that whether you love the first 3 Spider-Man movies or not with Tom Holland, it was great that they focused more on him in this. I think one thing that might have the most controversy around it, and for me, it's the most glaring issue of the movie, is the villain, because Spider-Man's known for his great villains, like Batman is known for his great villains. So he's kind of like the counterpart to Batman in Marvel, in my opinion. And so, yeah, I mean, even going all the way back to Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man, I mean, you know, Green Goblin, that really stuck with you, especially the age I was at. I was like, he's creepy as heck. And Doc Ock even, you know, was made a big impact, as well as Spider-Man. So I feel like the best Spider-Man movies are the ones where Spider-Man shines and the villain shines. And I can't say anything about this, but Sadie Sink is the villain, and let's just say she doesn't shine for being a villain. Like, if you think about her as a Spider-Man villain, it's not that great to me. I mean, I wonder how many people are going to agree with me, but I just didn't think she shined as a villain. She shined for another reason, because when you find out more about her, you'll kind of realize, oh, there's some big implications for the MCU. I'll just leave it at that. And also, I think that how she was treated as a villain has been done 1,000 times before. And you put together pretty quickly how it's going to end up and how things are going to be resolved. And yes, you're going to be 100% right. So yeah, that's my biggest complaint. Let me think about any other complaints I have. Maybe the pacing wasn't perfect. That's about it. I do have to say though, given those weaknesses I just mentioned with the villain, one thing that was great about the villain was you could feel the threat behind what was going on, and that aspect at least worked really well for me. But yeah, it took me a bit to get into this movie. I never got bored, but like I said, the pacing maybe wasn't perfect. Once I got invested, I was in it. I mean, I was invested from then on to the end of the movie, and nothing shook it at all. And in fact, when it ended, even though it was almost 2.5 hours, and there's a lot that happens in it, and it feels long, but it feels long in a great way, and I didn't want it to end. And I watched it with my wife. She didn't want it to end, and there were groans from the audience when it ended. Like, they were like, oh man, why did I have to cut out there? It really does feel like Spider-Man being Spider-Man. And at first I had a critique with New York because I felt like New York didn't feel like the real New York we know. And Tobey Maguire, I feel like his Spider-Man movies maybe felt the most grounded New York. Then it started to click with me that, oh, this is the New York from the Marvel comic books. This is the New York where, yes, there's a bunch of petty things going on, but then randomly Spider-Man will run into Punisher, or he will run into these bigger villains, or he'll run into, Bruce Banner. And so once that clicked for me, I was like, okay, this is the Spider-Man living in New York from the comics. The acting was also really great here. Tom Holland, he's done well throughout it all, but this may be his best performance yet. Zendaya, I'll be honest, I've been annoyed with her as MJ, and in this one, I think this is by far her best performance. I actually was sold as her as MJ. Jacob Batalon, he's not the best actor, but then again, he's a fun character, he's funny, and he has great chemistry with Tom Holland. I really buy them as best friends, so really, I think he's perfect here as well. John Bernthal as Frank Castle. I mean, if you haven't watched Daredevil or Punisher, you're missing out big time. But man, I have, and seeing him come in here, it was great. I love that Spider-Man shoots the web in his mouth before he drops an F-bomb, and so that kind of helped, it was a little meta almost that, this is not a rated R movie, so he can't talk how he talks in the show. He definitely drops a lot of cuss words that are just not F-bombs, so be aware of that if you have kids. Maybe you might want to see this first, or at least look it up online and see how much cuss words you're talking about, because this one felt like it was a little more than the other Spider-Man movies. A lot of humor with John Bernthal too, and so it was great seeing that side of him where he's usually, as Frank Castle, so serious. And the action was great. I thought there were a lot of twists and turns within the story, even though, like I said, at a certain point, the overall plot was predictable. There were still a lot of little details that came with that plot. And like I said, I'm really looking forward to where the MCU is going, where Spider-Man is going. So Spider-Man Brand New Day did its job. I came out feeling very satisfied and also wanting more. Really, I mean, that's the gist of my thoughts, spoiler-free wise. I think that the only complaints I can think of is the villain was underwhelming in certain areas, and then some of the pacing was a little off, but yeah, I mean, I can't think of anything else. Now, I still think I liked No Way Home more, but this one was great, and like I said, it's got me excited. So I can't say it's magnificent, but it's a great movie that has some serious true grit. Thank you guys very much for watching as always. Let me know in the comments if you've seen Brand New Day yet or not, and if you have, I'd love to hear what you thought of it and how you would compare to whatever you want to compare it to, whether you want to compare all the Spider-Man movies, just the Tom Holland ones, whatever. I'd just be curious to hear, because it is interesting. I've thought about it myself, and I'm probably going to do a Spider-Man ranking video of some kind shortly, but in the meantime, if you have not yet checked out my review of The Odyssey, I released that recently. Also, Tom Holland stars in it, but yeah, I felt like that's definitely a lot longer video than this one, because I felt like there was a lot to talk about, a lot of internet controversy if you're not aware of that, and so I actually do get into that, despite the perilous journey that could be, and how many different ways that could turn into cancellation territory. But I feel like I, addressed it as honestly as I could. And anyway, though, appreciate you guys watching. Check out my channel for future videos coming up soon. This is the guy with no name, signing off.